Hello. Hey, ladies. Can you hear me? Let me know. Okay. I think everything's working out. How are you ladies doing? This How is it going? Okay. Let me see. You guys can hear me, right? You guys can hear me. Okay, I think so. Okay, so welcome, ladies, back to the stream. Welcome back to my channel. So I'll just get right into it. Let me kind of adjust something really quick. But I posted on my community tab, what was it, yesterday, I think? Or let's try this. Yeah, I posted on my community tab yesterday or the other day, whatever that day was. I think it was yesterday, of education and degrees within the Black community and Hispanic Americans. But obviously, I'm kind of just going to focus on Black Americans and how, Black Americans with less education are more likely to fall out of the middle class each year. And I saw this first from a girl I follow on Instagram, and she follows me by the name of Christy Capital. Shout out to her. She's so pretty, and like I love her life. Her husband, her kids. She's also a conservative, I believe. And she posted this on her story, so I wanted to go and look it up and see it for myself. So let me just go ahead and share my screen because there's just some other things that I want to show you guys in general. All right. So hope you guys can see this, right? So it says Black and Hispanic Americans, those with less education, are more likely to fall out of the middle class each year. So we already know that a major talking point within the manosphere is women who have their degrees, who have their PhDs, who are successful, right? That they are, those things do not matter to high value men or to really just a lot of men in general, because they're looking for femininity and all that stuff. And as I've said plenty of times before over here, I'm traditional, I promote marriage and all that other stuff. However, I don't I don't promote it like it is forced. It has to happen that you're, you know, I don't use those talking points when it comes to that. Like majority of women in general across all races are not traditional. Majority of women want to work. Majority of women have a passion, and if they make money off of it, they want to keep doing it. A majority of women are not trying to be stay-at-home housewives. That's just the reality. So for the women that are, they are a minority of women in 2022. But it seems to me in the manosphere that they have a desire for women who do want to be more traditional and want to stay home. But the reality of it is, particularly for Black men, is that they can't afford a housewife. They cannot afford to be the sole providers. Therefore, shaming women who get PhDs and are highly educated is to their own detriment. I know there's also a statistic that says half of Black men are single, childless, and they're in the middle class, and that's also not true. And this study literally proves that. So in the First paragraph, it says economic status is not etched in stone. The loss of a job or an unexpected illness may push a middle class family down a notch on the economic ladder, but fortunes can improve too with a graduation from college or marriage to an earning partner lifting a lower income adult into the middle class. Okay, so for the people that say that there are a lot of black men in the middle class, they're not in there single. For the black men who are married, which is a little over 30% total of the black male population, majority of those men are in the middle class, but they're there because they're married. They're not there because they're actually earning over 50K. The average black man makes less than $900 per week, according to BLS.gov. Ever since the earnings for the first quarter of 2022 was released at the end of March 2022. I cannot talk. The end of March 2022 released the earnings, and black men only made less than $900 per week. So that's set in stone. So a lot of these men really don't have the range to be shaming women for being educated. And since we know that majority of educated people in the black community are black women, we know that a lot of married black men are only in the middle class because of their woman who is still working. Majority of black women are not housewives. It's just a fact. I know there's plenty that want to be, but unfortunately there aren't a lot that are. Majority of black women really throughout history have always worked. They've always had a job, and they've always um, made sure to excel and go to school or have a trade of some kind. So that's just, what it is. And then it goes on to say in the United States, the transience of economic status varies significantly across racial and ethnic groups and by level of education, according to a new Pew Research Center analysis of government data. Black and Hispanic adults are more likely than white and Asian adults to move down the income ladder and less likely to move up it from one year to the next. Likewise, adults with lower levels of education are more likely than those with more education to see economic regression and less likely to see progression. So, I'm going to play a TikTok as well to more so put into picture what I'm talking about and where this rhetoric that women who have degrees and aren't very successful dating come from. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, there we go. So let me show this TikTok to you guys because this made its rounds for a while actually. This TikTok and basically, saying that women that have their degrees or are successful are just not desirable. Let me share this. Okay, so I know that you guys saw this TikTok, right? High earning women are less attractive. And, it may be all fine and dandy for a high earning man himself to say this, but time and time again, the majority of men that are in the manosphere, time and time again, they're advocating for these talking points. But the very men that are advocating for these talking points are not high earning. Majority of black men are not high earning. Majority of them probably never really will be unless they marry, unless they finish school and get advanced degrees, which are possible for them, just like everyone else, because black women are doing it, so they should be able to do it too, right? But it's not happening. So for them to be, for them to be in such high agreement with talking points like this, it is to their detriment because majority of them can't afford to live a better lifestyle unless they have a partner who wants to work and actually have something going on. So let me play this for you guys.
good job. I make very, very good money. And she says the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, like it's like who wants you? Who wants you? You're right.
Right.
Like once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself.
Ooh,
And
shit.
what it is these because I and this is the thing. I'm not
Oh,
blaming
the
women.
women are gonna hate him for that
I
shit.
love
No,
Then
it.
no. See, the
they
thing
are
is,
gonna
see,
hate him for that.
they
I
should
can't
love
wait
me
to put
because
this shit out.
Okay, so you guys just heard that right. And they're all laughing at him, like the ladies are going to hate this. The ladies are not going to like that they're not chosen because of their degrees and all these other things. But what I'm saying is that it's okay for men to have their wants, their desires, what they're naturally attracted to. Yeah, they can come on here and say that all they want, but the data, the study, the research is not in alignment with their truths and their wants and their desires in terms of how um, black men and women as a community can excel, and even them as black men. One of the easiest way for a black man to get into the middle class is if he marries a black woman who's also working of any kind, even if she's just a secretary. Her income and his income combined can get both of them into the middle class. And there are, like I said, majority of black women are not trying to be housewives. It's just what it is. Majority of black women are in school trying to pursue a career and moving up the corporate ladder or starting their own businesses. Majority of them don't want to stay home. Majority of them want to work and they have a passion, as they should, and they should be allowed to work. Majority of people in the workforce in general are women right now. Currently, there are more women working than men right now. So to say that high earning women are not very attractive, to say that their degrees don't matter, well, you know what? They should. They should, because according to that study, when it comes to black people, everyone needs to, a lot of us at least, I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of us need to have a trade, finish school. A lot of us need to be making some kind of money. And so to say that a black woman is disqualified because she's too successful, that's only going to hurt things and make things worse, because majority of black men can't afford to be a sole provider. They just can't do it. They're better off getting with someone and actually chasing after these women with the PhDs. And there are plenty of black women actually that make enough money and don't care as much to have a, millionaire man. Like some of them do, but not all of them. There are plenty of women who say, I have my own money. I just want a good man. I just want him to have good character. I just want him to have good integrity. I want him to have his own purpose and his own passion. That's all I want. I want an actual bonding relationship. And then there are women who are successful that want a successful man. They don't want to have to settle for a man who makes less than them. But that's still okay, because successful men gearing up with successful women, those are power couples. That's what everyone considers a power couple. Bring in Barack and Michelle Obama, right? Isn't it true that when Barack and Michelle met, Michelle was a little bit further in her career than Barack was? Like, was they're both attorneys, right? But wasn't he like a new associate or something like that? Like, Barack wasn't going into his job, because I think they met at work, looking at Michelle like, oh no, ugh, she's way too successful. She's got too much going on. I need a woman who's, like, he wasn't paying attention to the secretary. He was paying attention to the boss woman, because he wants, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just it's sad that these men would rather want the secretary. No shade to a secretary, but I'm just saying, for them to blatantly disqualify successful women, and they don't really know the data behind um, the benefits of getting with a successful woman, is like, okay, like the data says that the black community is better off the more money we make together, the more educated we are together, We're not very successful if only one of us earns a lot of money, particularly if you're a black woman and you want a high earning man and you do want to stay home. I suggest you open up your options because white men and Asian men in particular, white people and Asian people in general, are more of them are in the middle class and they have much higher chances of not only staying there but moving completely up. The chances of white and Asian people surviving off of one income is much more realistic than surviving off of the sole income of a black man, according to this Pew Research study. Let me show it again. And I'm showing this to you guys because, once again, the Manosphere says time and time again that successful women are not very much so desired. But according to this study, they technically should be, in particular to black men. And we already know that when black women marry black men, majority of the time she's out earning him, or just a lot of the time at least. She's marrying down. Either she's more educated, whatever the case is. She has more than him in some capacity, right? And it's her accomplishments and her accolades that's keeping them, their status together. So let's go on here. The transitions from there was another part. Okay, it's right here. This part says at the lower end of the economic scale, Black and Hispanic adults are almost twice as likely as white and Asian adults to be in the lower income tier. They are also less likely to progress into the middle or upper income tiers in any given year. From 2000 to 2021, some 26% of Black adults and 27% of Hispanic adults on average moved up a tier or more from the lower income tier each year, compared with almost 40% of white and Asian adults. So, once again, ladies, if you are a Black woman and you do want to stay home, open up your options to other races of men. It says right here that the probability, or the percentage of um, moving up an income tier is 40% higher with white and Asian adults. And that obviously includes white and Asian men as well, probably more so because we know men in this country in general earn more than women do. So you must open up your options if you want to be a traditional Black woman who does want to stay home. If you're a Black woman who's still open to dating Black men, and you want to be a traditional housewife to a Black man, I'm not saying it's not impossible, but the likelihood of you being able to stay on his sole income for the duration of the marriage, some death to your part type stuff, is not very high compared to if you are a traditional housewife to a non-Black man, particularly white or Asian. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Let me see what you guys are saying. DP says they want you to be in poverty with them because they feel we don't deserve anything. I've seen that a lot too. I've seen that a lot too, telling these successful Black women that they can't have another successful man. That's crazy to me, especially a successful Black man, because successful Black people getting together instead of, a successful Black man dating down himself, he pursues a Black woman on his level. They are a power couple and can really be a force, for their own families, and really pass down some serious generational wealth. But the issue with that in general is that there just aren't enough high value Black men, that are have their PhDs and stuff like that compared to Black women who are educated. Black women in general just finish college more than Black men do, unfortunately. Lisa says, haha, I use my businesses and success like a weapon. The men I date, once they find out, never let me go. Honestly, they are lying. Tell them what you accomplished, but I do date majority of educated white men. Yeah. I mean, that's really kind of where it's at. This study, and it, guys, this study just came out 2 days ago. Okay, 2 days ago. So, I posted this on my community tab because they're saying time and time again here that they want women who are more feminine and more this, and instead of, you know, going to college, you should be trying to find a husband. They taunt women for that. They may say, "Oh, we don't say that we don't want you to get your degree," but what they do say is they don't want you to focus on a career. They don't want you to focus on school. They want you to focus on finding a husband. They want you to do all this other stuff. And this study is telling you that that's not a good idea, particularly if you're black. If you're black, you actually need to focus on the bag, okay? Because you're the least likely to succeed and move all the way up compared to everybody else, black women included. Black women don't really have that type of luxury to just focus on finding husbands. We actually need to make sure that we as black women have our passions and our skills and figure out what makes us happy as a woman so that we can always have that safety net, because we cannot rely on our men like this the way other women can. It's just a fact. Not my feelings, a fact. This study literally proves it. So many other studies and statistics prove it as well, with the low employment rates of black men, them being the most arrested, all these other things, all these other things. Ray says, it amazes me how some people are willing to accept opinions and completely disregard logic and reason. These men are blindly following the manosphere. That thinking will be their demise. Yeah, exactly. Because we already know that the majority of men in the manosphere are not very high earning. They don't meet the very standard that they set for what makes a man high value. A lot of incels in the manosphere, right? A lot of guys that just work by the hour, but yet are saying that your degrees don't matter, when those are the very men who need to be chasing women who have something else going on other than their femininity. Unfortunately, majority of black men, they just don't make enough money to have a housewife. They don't. They do not. So it is what it is. And I think that if a black woman is successful and wants a successful partner, she's actually the most, it's going to be easy for her to get one because she has a network already. A woman that has her PhD, educated black women in general, are the most likely of all black women to get married because they have education, they have a network, they have access to certain groups, and the ability to be around other educated, well-rounded people. So the chances for them to get married and actually stay married is higher. Educated black women with masters and PhDs don't divorce as much. You know what I'm saying? So let me show you guys this one other TikTok. Hold on. Hold on. This one. I think this guy put it into perspective pretty well, the stats that I'm talking about. Let me try to. Okay. He put into perspective really well the stats that I'm talking about, on how, a lot of men in general really don't have this luxury to to say your degrees don't matter because I can take care of you, or my money, I got my own money, and all this other BS. A lot of men don't, a lot of black men especially don't make that much money. So if you do have a woman who wants to be with you and she does have her degrees and she wants to be with you, you need to snatch that up, okay? You need to snatch that up because that's actually going to help you if she wants to be with you. That's what I'm trying to say. But I promote women, or I'm sorry, I promote men being providers and protectors. That's me. That's me. Okay. And what I promote over here. However, I don't promote women being shamed for having passions and having education and foregoing all of that to find a husband, especially amongst a group of men who are the least qualified to lead a household economically, based off of economic status. I'm saying they're the most economically challenged. But these are also the same men who are making talking points like this go viral. All right. It's a lot of black men that are making talking points like this go viral in regards to your degrees don't matter and all this other stuff, majority of the time. So, wait, let me show you guys this. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have seen this TikTok. It didn't really go viral like that. I think I've shown it on my channel before. I'm not sure. But let me play it for you right now.
The Y chromosomes got emotional over stats showing that men are less educated than women. Well, here's more. Women earn more bachelor's, master's, and doctor's degrees than men, not just in 2019, but every year for the past 16 years. But those are arts degrees. Okay, women do earn more arts degrees, but also more biology, law, and soon medical degrees. Accept it, and let's get good, men. The Y chromosomes got emotional over stats showing that men are less educated than women.
Okay, so I think he really put it together nicely about, the stats, the truth about who, about women and their degrees and all that stuff. And these stats, rather, prove that a majority of women are obviously not focused on having husbands and being housewives. They are trying to go to school and get their degree and have a career and make their own money, have their own nest egg. I've said this before that house being a housewife is not a popular thing amongst all women. It's not. I promote it, but it's just not the majority. So it just is what it is. So, since majority of the time women are trying to get their degrees and not focus on marriage at the age of 21, these men coming on here and making videos go viral about how that's wrong and they should instead focus on getting a husband and finding a high value man. This video also told you that the stats don't even prove there's even enough high value men to go around. There just isn't. And this is where they say, well, you have to compete. But then it's like, compete for what? Why? I can go out and make my own money. I don't need to compete for one guy, a guy that's the minority of the male population, right? And as I said before, guys, I'm not talking about women that work and get degrees but are trying to find a man to come and save her. I'm talking about women that don't want to stay home. They actually want to work. They've put in a lot of hours, long nights, and they don't want to give it all up. They want to keep working, but they also want to have a man who has the same level of ambition and his own purpose and his own passion. So, what I'm saying is that if the men are saying that they want to have housewives, majority of men cannot even afford that. The women who choose to work and want to keep working are what's in abundance. And that study I just showed you guys is that, particularly when it comes to black men, they cannot afford any housewives in general. And if you are a black woman that wants to be a housewife, you must date out. For the most part, you must date out. Um, Relying solely on black men to do it is not going to work. It's just not possible because the average black man makes less than $900 per week. So it is what it is. But if you are a black woman that is educated, you're the most likely to meet a guy that's on your level and marry him and actually stay married, compared to, no shade, but compared to black women that only have a high school diploma. And that's kind of just with any woman, I think, no matter her race. The more educated you are, the more high earning you are, just the more access you have into a lot of different spaces where you can meet people that's on your same level. So, you know, it just is what it is. He has one more as well. Is this the one? Oh, that's the one I just showed you guys. Okay. So he has one more video as well with some more stats that are much more accurate than what is being said in the Manosphere regarding women. And all of this, half of them are single, childless, and successful. It is a lie. No, they're not. So let me show you guys the one I'm talking about. I think it was this one. Yeah, so all right, so let me play this one for you guys.
How is that possible? Women have not been pregnant a lot. The US birth rate is the lowest ever in history. Single men are also now less educated and less employed than single women. So can't find a good man is true because men do seem less good. Get good, men. How is that possible? Women have not been pregnant a lot. The US birth rate is the lowest ever in history. Single men are also now less educated and less employed than single women. So can't find a good man is true because men do seem less good. Get good, men.
Okay, so I think he did another really good explanation, particularly when it comes to, women having these kids and stuff like that. There's another thing that they say is that they don't want any woman with children. At the end of the day, this is the most childless time that women have like ever been in existence, especially here in the US. Women are not having children that much. Um, so look, like that just doesn't make any sense. Not in alignment with reality, right? A lot of these men's truths, their wants, they don't align with what's really happening. That's what I'm saying. These men spend a lot of time online. They're not spending enough time in the real world, actually looking things up, actually surrounding themselves in the proper circles, so they don't really know what they're talking about when they come here. And that, to be honest, this is to do with all of these men that are here in the mass, all races, okay? Just is what it is. Um, so, I mean, I can drop the link if anyone wants to come up and say something about this. I mean, but like, what do you guys think? I'm going to play the original TikTok that I was really talking about one more time in case anyone missed it. I know you guys have seen this clip. It went viral a few times.
I make very, very good money. Literally, she says, I got a good job. I make very, very good money. And she says, the only thing I need now is a man. It's like, yo, it's like, who wants you? Who wants you? You right. Like, once you have achieved these things, you have unfortunately disqualified yourself.
Ooh,
and
shit.
And what it is these, and this is the thing. I'm not
Ooh,
blaming
the women are gonna hate him for that shit.
No,
see, they are gonna hate him for that. I can't wait to put this shit out.
So, when that video went viral, it just talked, you heard them about high earning women are just less attractive. But the Pew Research study that came out 2 days ago is literally saying that when it comes to Black men saying this, and they kind of are the only ones who are saying this and making it go viral, Black and Hispanic Americans, especially, just can't afford to not be with successful people, especially if you are successful yourself. if you're trying to date, within the culture, these men cannot afford to just not um, be with women who have careers. Majority of women don't want to be a housewife, like I said. They just don't. They want to work. And since we know that these women want to work, they are the best option for black men, women of all colors. And if you're a black woman, sorry, I just ate on something. But if you're a black woman who wants to stay home and be a housewife, which is what I promote, you will have a good chance of finding a man who's able to do that and can afford that and is stable if you date out, if you open up your options. So let me drop the link. I want to know your ladies' thoughts on these talking points that successful women are the least attractive when studies are saying that the only way a majority of black men in particular can reach middle class and higher is if they get with a successful woman. It's if they marry. That actually has been proven to be the easiest way a black man can get into the middle class if he just simply gets married. Just simply does that. The other two ways is if he joins the military and if he gets an advanced degree. That's the other way. So I'm just saying, we've just got to stop these talking points. And I know these guys have their desires. If it was a perfect world, but it's not. All right, we don't live in a perfect world. Okay, we live in a world that's based in reality, and the reality of it is a lot of black men, the average black men, the average black man only makes less than $900 per week as of the end of the first quarter of March 2022. BLS.gov. You can look it up yourself. Okay, you can look it up yourself. So they're talking all about high value men, what we want, and all this other stuff. And the vast majority of black men are just not in that criteria. They shouldn't even be in these conversations. I was on a live stream last night and just watching, and there was a clearly, I'm sorry, but he was clearly an incel black man. He was just, you could just tell, right? And he's talking about marriage and all these other things. And it's just like, dude, you obviously have never been in a relationship. Why are you talking about marriage? Like, why do you have so much to say? Um, why do you have so much to say about what women should and shouldn't be doing? And he was young. He was like under 30 with the most to say. Like, please stop talking about stuff you haven't experienced. Like, the majority of black men in these conversations have not experienced a high value male lifestyle. They just haven't. It is what it is. Hey, Afrocentric woman.
Hey, fine womanhood. How are you today?
Good. How are you? What are your
I'm,
thoughts?
I'm doing good. My thoughts are that I really hope that Black women who are high earning or who earn anything don't get with people who don't want to support them,
Yeah.
who don't want to contribute financially to them. Um, like if you look at other communities where women are like highly qualified, like maybe they're doctors or they, executives or whatever, they still have the ability to take maternity leave. They have the ability to take a few years off, or they can they have options. A lot of times
Hmm.
those women are working because they want to work, not because they have to. Like they won't be put out of their house because they take a couple of years off or they're in between jobs. Um, I don't know. I know for sure that Black men look for women to support them.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter if they have money or not. They're usually very stingy and very um, selfish.
Mm.
Usually, that's been my observation over the many years, and that's what I, experience hearing women talk about all the time. I mean, just all stories from like, oh, I came home, he bought himself a boat, he bought himself a new truck, and meanwhile, like their own children will not even have any college savings.
Mm.
But when they're in a 50-50 relationship, they see that money that they have as extra money that they can do whatever they want to with it. They could allow their wife to get a part-time job or stay home with the children, but they don't feel like it's their obligation because that's not the culture, and a lot of times they just have viewed women working and breaking their bones and having 18 jobs, and you'll hear them say that. They'll tell you, these women today aren't built like my mom. My mom had 18 jobs and she raised me by herself and she never complained and she loves me unconditionally. Like, why can't you be like my mom? And they'll
Mhm.
tell you that very verbatim. So you don't have to be in confusion about what it is that they're looking for. They're looking for a workhorse. So it's not even about money because money is not the problem really. The problem is character and culture. And they'll watch you die. I've seen it. They'll sit up and they'll watch you die slowly and they will not lift a finger to like get an extra job. Like I have a family member who had like two back-to-back kids. Like her kids are literally like barely a year apart. And yeah, she had like a C-section with the first baby, and then she turned around and get pregnant again. So it's like she was going to need another C-section. She hadn't even healed from the first one,
Wow.
and she was in between contracts with her job, and so she wasn't getting paid. And she was literally on the brink of death, literally just hobbling around. It was so sad. I helped as much as I could, but we had a death in the family, so I had to my attention was it was like pivoted away from her situation and pivoted on the other one. So I wasn't able to help her with the second baby as much as I helped her with the first baby. But her husband never got a second job. He quietly played PlayStation while she hobbled around on the brink of death. And I've seen this many times. There's nothing in them that wakes up that says, oh my God, let me help my wife. Like, oh my God, like let me get going to, you know, do for my wife. I've seen many times of them doing the bare minimum, and it's like they're functioning inside the house like a teenage boy.
Mhm.
Because if you think
Yeah.
about your son will get a job, but typically when he gets a job, it's money for him to play with. It's money for him to, go out with his friends. It's money for him. He might throw a couple of bucks on a few bills here and there, but genuinely, he doesn't have any real responsibility inside the home. And a lot of them operate like teenage boys inside the home. So basically, they're the woman's oldest child.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that myself. There's a lot of them that are man children. I was listening to something else earlier, um, that, when we have conversations about how it's so important for the man to provide, and how these men say they want feminine woman, but then want to put you through the ringer and make you want to do all the hard work, that's taking you out of your femininity. The feminine is supposed to receive, nurture, and reciprocate. The masculine protects, provides, and gives. And usually, the men who are very effeminate, they tend to have an issue with this. They tend to think, like, oh, so she's just supposed to sit around and be lazy and all this other crap. And it's just like, no, she has her way of giving to you, it's in a feminine way, but they're
Yeah,
not used to really seeing femininity. A lot of them are raised by single mothers. They're used to seeing them struggle. So they think that's normal, even when they themselves get high earning, the high value, like, but still, they still have a dusty mindset because they're now saying that women have to work and, compete for them and all this other stuff. And it's just like, I'm following your lead as the man. It's not supposed to be me who's out here doing the most for you. I'm a woman. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Hey,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Hey,
Hey, Lisa.
hi. I love your show. It's always on, and I always like your topics because they're a little bit different than the standard BWE. It's a little bit more nuanced. So thank you for having this.
Thank you. What do you think about this topic today?
Oh my God, I'm in the chat. All lies. This dude has an issue, but it's him. Because I'm just, so everything I'm going to talk about is anecdotal. It's just my experience, right? So it's not
Hmm.
quantifiable or whatnot, but he's lying.
Hmm.
There's not a guy around. I mean, there are men who don't, I guess, who are intimidated by women who are successful, who may seem more successful than them, because I've definitely seen it. I've been at a bar and someone's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And that day, I'm like, "Oh, I wrote 2 books." And like, I slowly saw them back away, right? So there's definitely some men. He did. He like literally was like, "Bye," and like, so definitely there are some men who are intimidated, but these men need to start saying I or black men. Like they need to stop going men think this way because
Yeah.
it's definitely a personal thing. Because for that one guy who slowly backed away with his eyes opening up because I said, I wrote books. There's 8 others who are like they won't let you go if you allow them in, and they know you're
Hmm.
successful. So
Hmm.
just anecdotally, it's an issue with him, but they really need to stop projecting their weird stuff, their weirdo-ness on other people. So it's just all lies. He's loud and it went viral. But like the reality is, and I'll just be really honest. So I've been on dating apps for about a year, and there's a lot of things you notice. And so slowly I've been updating it. And when I took a picture of me like at a conference, or like they can see I wrote a book, well, guess how high the engagement went and how persistent the engagement went. It went from like, oh, hey, hi, it might fall off to, no, I really want to pursue this woman. So, like, if you put pictures of yourself in that success, you'll notice there is an uptick in persistence and quality of men.
Hmm.
So, that's the reality. And it's all men. It's not only men who are financially successful, it's the people who are not financially successful. They're just mad that you generally don't talk to them.
Hmm.
That's all I
And
wanted to say. And what the previous callers was talking about was just so on point about the men who are so in their feminine. If you want to stay home, they're like, "What? I want to stay home." Like, and their genes are so deactivated to the masculine, which is that
so,
protect and provide. It would just be
yeah.
so much for them to get over because they have to activate like what's there, but it's broken, it's suppressed. But so many, the hard work it takes to be the provider, I mean, that is a hard, hard journey because it's been suppressed in them so long. Like, who wants to go from I'm just sitting here and the women work for me to I have to provide everything and they're just women? Like, they honestly, literally can't see the benefits of it. So, your previous caller was just super. Oh, is that was the Afrocentric women? Yeah, it's super accurate, and I love watching your channel too now.
Yeah, they usually, these guys who are out of alignment with their masculinity, yeah, you're right. They're going to have a problem with a woman staying home. They're also going to be turned off by feminine
Mm-hmm.
women. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to they're going to feel annoyed by you. Like there's so many men
Mm-hmm.
that I've dated and talked to for just a little bit, didn't even child didn't even go nowhere. And it was revealed very early that they were very effeminate and very much not in their masculine. Me doing feminine things would annoy them because that's kind of what they do. Like men that want you to struggle and think you should struggle in order to quote unquote get them. And like like I said, I'm the woman. I'm not supposed to be out here getting you. That's not femininity. So if they want to say, "Oh, but there's not a lot of men who are working. There's not a lot of high value men." Yeah, there aren't, but there's a lot of women who are making their own money. A high value man is not a necessity for anyone to live a stable life. Really, what's a necessity is for everyone to have some kind of a trade, some kind of a skill, some kind of a passion that they enjoy so that they can monetize it. And it technically is work, but it doesn't feel like work. And majority of people, according to stats, prefer that way of living than to just be like a housewife, according to the stats. So, you know,
I absolutely agree with everything you said. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, it's so, it's just funny because when they say the things that they want, and the thing is no one is shaming men for coming on and saying what they want. I actually think it's great that they make it clear what it is they want so that women can hear it and listen to it and then move accordingly. But it has to be rooted in reality and with what actually is going to lead to success within relationships, dating, and just whatever. They can say, that they don't want women who are too successful, but majority of these guys pushing out these talking points aren't successful themselves. So you
Right.
can't offer a woman anything else. So you better hope that she does have something that's making her successful, because you can't protect and provide for her in that realm. You
And
can't.
And can I say something based off what you said about, oh, the men aren't doing as well as the women? And I'm
Mhm.
just going to say this in this era of the divine feminine going forward, I honestly see evolution in action. I see evolution and DNA, and not every genetic library is going to make it to the next, over the next 200 years. I
Oh, yeah.
literally see genes and evolution coming to the forefront. So men like that and women waking up in awareness and being more selective and discerning. I truly see that the not every person's gonna make it, okay? And all these men go their own way and da 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 da. And some of the women who are, hey, you're sitting here, you're waiting on your unicorn, and you're not adapting either. Your genes aren't gonna make it,
Mhm.
So it's funny watching all this and going, wow, a lot of y'all are just gonna get cold from the herd.
Yeah, Lisa, you're
Thank
absolutely
goodness.
right, because there throughout history there's always been a set of marginalized men that just didn't have their DNA passed down. Like, this isn't new. It actually was much worse back then, because in order for a woman to even be married, you needed your father to give you away. Now today women can choose whoever it is they want. Technically you don't need your father to like give the approval, but back in, ancient, like, hundreds of years ago, much more in the traditional times, a lot of men were just seen as not qualified, not by women, but by other men. Therefore, they were marginalized and taken out of society, and their DNA was not passed down. That's something
True.
that was a regular occurrence throughout throughout history amongst all types of cultures, even in African culture, like all types of cultures. The most successful men, the most strongest, powerful men were the ones who got their DNA passed down, and men that couldn't really work, they didn't have a lot of trade and skills, they couldn't provide anything, they were not selected by the fathers, to have their daughters given to them. Those men just, I don't know, they just lived life and then got just went on to the next transition. Like, they didn't have legacy. So it's really no
Listen,
different today.
Listen, I know it's sort of harsh that I said that, but at this point, I'm just so tired and done. And I'm spiritual, don't get me wrong, but I'm still have boundaries. Like, I'm just done. Everyone has their own journey. But right now, sitting from where I am, I'm in this game. I'm grooming, I am putting myself up. I am healing. I'm doing my work to be better in a relationship. So, on my side of things, because of the work I'm putting into it, I do have value just in being, because I'm doing that work. And I'm sitting here watching all these other people, and they refuse to date out. They refuse to do this. They refuse, oh, you're too smart, so I don't like, and they're doing all these things, and I'm just like self-sabotage at its finest. And I'm just getting to this point where it's just like this big daddy energy, where I'm like, hey, if you want to X yourself out, let's hurry this up. Let's hurry this up, so only the ones who are really strong and can adapt and can think further and improve themselves, let's keep us in the gene pool. So I'm sort of cheering this all on at this point.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's literally the truth. Afro-centric, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just on a spiritual level and a genetic level, we have to kind of look at the collective of males that are in the Black male community and think about like what kind of genes would allow you to survive bondage and subjugation for centuries. You know what I mean? And I do think
Right.
about the ones who didn't make it over here. I think about the ones who jumped off the ship. Like
Mhm.
anybody that was like the most resistant males are gone.
Mhm.
And the most docile, weak, ineffective non leaders, are the ones that are left, and that's who we've been procreating with. And I do pray deeply that this is the shift, and that this is the time that Black women stop choosing the weak links, ones who are just not operating. They're not productive, and they're not useful. And I think that because they don't see a difference between women and men, and they really feel like they hate the fact that we require them to be useful. Like they despise that. Like, why should I have to have some use in your life? Like, why can't I just be here? Why isn't my beingness enough? And it's like, because it's not, and you need to be producing something to be over here. Okay, anywhere over here you need to be producing something. And they hate that because it's so out of sorts for them. um, it's just so out of the norm, and it's so out of our culture. So I do hope that this shift grows.
Can I say something too as a healer? So as a healer, I definitely see what you said was just so accurate and about whose genetics made it, right? And the most docile, the most feminine, the most take orders, they made it because, there was a line of men who talked back and they went in the hole and never came out, right? They like, and say what you want, but the people who owned them were like, well, we're not breeding this. This guy's too crazy. But this guy, he listens to whatever we say. Like that's the breeder, that's the circus bud or whatever they call it. So I mean, it actually just makes sense that they're going to choose and target for the breeding, like not the one who is strong but very docile, right? I mean, that just makes strategic sense if you're a breeder. And I'm sorry to put it in terms like that, but as a healer, I do see it as all of this can be healed. All this masculinity can be activated, just like we started our journey into femininity when we were called, and literally we were called. They can do the same, and they can learn it, and they can embrace it. The question I have is, are
Girl,
they? Are they going
girl,
to?
let me
Because
answer you. No, no. Black women get held up on that hope right there. They get held up on that hope right there, and they will spend years right there in that space of hoping and praying and going to the ancestors and making an
Mhm.
altar and all of these things, because they project, and Black women do this, they project their qualities onto other people. They
Mhm.
think, well, I did it too. I can do it. You can do it too. Let me inspire you. Let me show you the way. Or, and they have all this hope. And it's like Black women waste a lot of time, precious, precious time. They waste precious years. They waste precious resources. They squander resources trying to, because they want to do these things as far as relating in family, and being in a dynamic with a man where you can have respect for him and listen to his ideas and follow them. Well, when Black women listen to Black women and follow them, Black women end up getting charges, and end up getting their credit messed up, end up being evicted and destitute, because who are they trying to they're trying to force someone into a space that is not prepared or equipped for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we're healers. We need to focus on healing ourselves, because they keep telling us that they
Mhm.
have no interest in changing, like
I actually
resoundingly.
listen. I agree with you. Well, I will say I see what you see. I will say I am impartial. I'm not invested in if they do it or don't. I'm just not.
Yeah,
Not in a weird way. And the only thing I would say on that is that I'm not invested, but just as an observer, just seeing what's going on, I think it will have action. I'm not betting on it. I don't care. Like, because at the end of the day, I don't need a label because I've always just done what was best for me. I had my own standards and my own wants, what I wanted to manifest it, and I just focused on that. And so when you do that, you like other people and what they're doing, you're looking, but like, hey, I don't care what you do, I'm gonna do. But I see what you're saying, that hope, and like instead of making moves to get what they want, so you can have that hope, but you can also go, but until that happens, I'm going to look where people who are more qualified to be a more better match with me are, even if it's outside of my community, right? It's like you can have the hope, but also make moves to secure what you want. And if it's a family and child, and I think a lot of people can get in trouble waiting on the hope versus going, I hope this happens, but I'm still doing good for me. And whatever that takes me, I'm going to manifest my goals and be open to what the universe brings. I honestly don't know if they can. I was talking to this about someone, another man. He was like, I don't know if they can because they have a long, long road. And I was like, I see that. If they do or don't, it doesn't bother me because that's it's not my life. Right. And I just wanted to add this one thing for a little bit of esoteric knowledge. I was learning recently because I have a colleague who's really into African studies and she studies all the African texts. And she brought to my attention that who you procreate with, ladies, genetically, and I'm really big into DNA and activations, not letting anyone alter it, but genetically, who you mate with and procreate with, that determines the vibration of the soul that can come into that body. So depending on your genetics and how vibrational it was and open they were and healthy and healed, versus having a lot of suppression, that sort of determines how high of a vibrational being can come into it. And it's interesting sometimes looking at all the kids who, in certain broken families, and it's just like, it's important, ladies, who you procreate with, because if you can only get a lower vibrational being, not as high of a vibrational being, you're not necessarily facilitating that change in the planet of bringing higher and higher vibrational folks on. And I know that's a little like into the spiritual side, and it's okay if you guys are like, what, that sounds crazy. But I just wanted to say, like, it's something we discuss and we look at. So evolution and DNA and who you procreate with isn't just physical. It's spiritual as well as what you can bring to this planet and what kind of portal you are to this planet. And I look at my daughter, and I do have a biracial daughter, but I chose a man who fit my standards, just intellectual, smart, a provider, father figure. And we're divorced now, but I talk to him every day because he's still a great father to my child. That is both of our child's, not just mine. And I look and I'm like, you know what? I chose you based on who you were as a person. And I look at my daughter and what we created. And we're so happy and proud. And it's like, man, you really you got to think about that stuff. It's not just, you're not just a portal for something physical. You're also a portal for, depending on how you make your decisions, for a very strong soul that you can bring into this world and planet that it's never seen before. So just wanted to put that little information out.
No, I think, Lisa, you're right on point. I think I know you get into the spiritual side, but there actually is also science to back that up too, that personality traits and things like that can be passed down as well.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. So I believe it's a vibration and all that. It gets passed down for sure. And I also put up this comment up here from Guiney Stahl. She says, and they get mad when at Ketanji Jackson and others in this administration for her choice of choosing a white man. They did the right thing. And Ketanji Brown Jackson is a perfect example of like what I was talking about there are more women who actually want to work and they want to have a career and make their own money. But in the video, in this viral video, where the black men are saying that's not the type of woman that they want. But getting with a woman like Ketanji Brown Jackson would have helped a lot of black men, but at the end of the day, she also wanted a man that was on her level. And she's very highly educated. And she did exactly what the stats say majority of women like her are capable of doing, which is finding a husband, staying married on her level, because she decided to pursue her career and her dreams over trying to just have a husband at the age of like 21. And then to be a wife to, maybe like an average black man, but they, majority of them, like I said, don't have the means to have a housewife if the average black man makes less than $900 per week.
Girl, they lying. Every guy I talked to who made less than me, I'm telling you, they didn't let me go. Okay, won't even ask me to marry him. And that is definitely that viral video dude's thing. But I gotta tell you, just from my heart, all lies. Men love women who okay, some don't, but there are a lot of men who just love women who are on their game, especially financially, because they're not dumb. They see the dollar signs. They're like, oh, if I had what I have to you, we're doing great. But I'm going to step down now. Thank you for allowing me the space and Afrocentric community. It's always good talking to both of you. I feel like we're just humming on a certain vibrational plane, and I really appreciate that outlet. And I just want to say to all the women out there, you are a portal with who you procreate with. It doesn't matter what color they are. It matters your standards. And you're a portal not only for a physical being, but just remember, it could be the next high vibrational being that can make drastic change on this planet, or something a little lower that doesn't bring as much change. So just keep that in mind. I don't know. That's just me. Talk to you guys later, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I love everything you have to say.
Yeah, Lisa dropped some gems.
She
She
really,
dropped
really
some
did.
gems.
She
Yeah,
really,
like I needed her about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago.
she really, she truly
Yeah.
is. But, yeah, everything you guys said in general, it's just, it's just so true. The things that they want, and they can want it all, hey, it's free country, want whatever you want, but it's not in alignment with reality. Okay, it's just not. These
And
guys,
they're the
they
most hypergamous too. So it's not really like a legit talking point because they do seek out women for resources.
mm,
They actively do that. And they
mhm,
are very upset that women who had previously thought that they couldn't have standards, like single mothers, heavy set women, things of that nature. Like they've always relied on that group of women, like heavy set women or women with children, because those women were taught, oh, you can't have any standards. Any piece of a man is good enough. Just, if you get a piece of a man, you should just be happy because nobody wants you. And so they're very upset that those women all, are having standards like, no, yes, I might be overweight, but I'm not about to allow you to live in my house for free, eat up all my food, cheat on me, give me STDs and do all this stuff. Like,
mhm.
no. And and they're like, "What? That's not fair." And they like, "Oh, we hate what's her name? Lizzo, because Lizzo is making these overweight women have standards and think that they're
She has a
beautiful and
man
they're not." What was that?
now. Lizzo, she has a man now, I think.
Yeah,
Did you?
Lizzo could probably have a man anytime she want, and when she don't want one,
Yeah,
she can get rid of one, and when she want another one, she can get another one. If she want
they
five,
just
she can have five.
they
Up
just
to her.
keep talking crap about her, but she popped up with a whole man. Like, so what is it now? What can they say about her now? Because they use that against her so much. So, it's just they say what they want, but it's not rooted in reality. Because yeah, like you ladies are saying in the chat, like African women saying, majority of black men actually are seeking women that have their stuff together because they want to use you for that. So it's just funny how things like this go viral, talking about how that's the opposite, that these men have their own and you need to offer something more than your credentials, but majority of black men aren't living that lifestyle. So why is this going viral? That's why in one of the lives I did, I talked about how these male, Manosphere, these male podcasts and these, allegedly they're trying to have male improvement. It's really just male sensationalism, making these men feel good, talking about a lifestyle and bringing women down to make these men feel good, but it's not rooted in accuracy or reality. And I think one of you ladies said it in the chat, where is it? Yes, it's Dara who said, in real life, I think men are good with women who make money, but on the internet, it's different. In real life, I have never had a man look at me sideways because of my degrees. Exactly. In real life, it's just not, that's just not how it works. Real men understand that, look, it's 2022. We need to work, we need to survive, especially if we're all single. No one has this like liberty to not have something going on. If you want to take care of yourself, if you want to offer yourself a good life, you are going to have to make money. Most likely you probably want to explore going to school or having your own business and having some kind of skill or something that you can monetize. So it's just real funny that on the internet a woman is shamed for pursuing those things when in real life she needs those things, or she gonna be on the street somewhere if she's a, what I'm saying, like she gonna be on the street. She's not gonna have her stuff together. And last I checked, these men are always making fun of women that are on the street. They're not trying to get with them either. So it's just a bunch of talking points that will have you in circles, not rooted in reality. It's all sensationalism, and it may be what they want, but it's not. It's not based on the facts. My opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's so confusing. I mean, it's literally all over the place. So, we can't really listen to what they say because whatever will confuse you, and that's what they're going to say. And I think that it goes viral because it's salacious, and I don't think that they care about their reputation. They don't care about like what people think about them. They do, but they don't, because this is not the image that you would want to put out into the world if you cared about respect. You know, if respect were a currency, you want to be a respected group of men. You want to be a respected group of men. You would not put this type of content out, and then they will accuse us for disparaging their image when it's like, who put this out? You know, who produced this? Who said this? Who put this out? Who promoted it? It wasn't us. You know, it was them. They're the ones who are putting this information out. And I don't know that I know that they see people laughing, but I don't know that they know that people are laughing at them and not with them.
Yeah, I don't think they know it, but people are definitely laughing at them when, like, I have the study back up when it says the less education you have, the least likely you are to fall out of the middle class, particularly if you're black. So it's not within any person's interest, really in general, but especially for black people, for you to not focus on um having things to provide for yourself. It's whether you're a woman who's traditional or not, you are better off having some kind of skill that you can monetize at any point in time, a nest egg, a safety net, or something, so that you can always have your own back in the event that anything is to go wrong. And, according to stats, a lot of women don't really care to be a housewife. They more so care to have work that they're passionate in. And when things go viral saying that these types of women are the least attractive, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's not true in reality. You know what I'm saying? So, but thank you so much, Afrocentric Roman, for your contribution. You're so spot on.
Thanks
And
for
make
having me. I'll hop off. Thank you.
yeah, and make sure you guys subscribe to her channel. I'm gonna find the link to her channel and put it in the chat. But there's something else I wanted to show you guys really quick, because I'm really about tired. Okay, of certain comments. This is a comment that I want to show y'all that was left on my channel. Hold on now. Because I'm really over, talking about this in general, you know what I'm saying? But where is it? Okay, let me know if you guys can see this. Hold on. All right. So I got this long comment on here about, the Godfather. I'm really about tired of talking about him. I'm ready to move on. It is what it is. Condolences to his family, you know what I'm saying? But comments like this, y'all tried it. This man says, I'm so tired of people who have so much to say negative about him. Pick something positive, or let's see a view forever. The man had more great advice than you, more people that sided with him than you, including women. Stop acting like men, and women haven't thanked this man publicly. Swallow the truth. It doesn't taste good, but it's good for you. This video makes me sick. Do better. Research more. He held a show where he openly let people bring up all the issues with him before his death. Now that he's passed, you all come out like freaking roaches. Rest in peace to the Godfather. I love black women. Oh, okay. But he spoke about the issues with critiquing black women being damn near impossible. You even mentioned that he spoke to men's issues, but later said that he said black men can do no wrong. Shaking my head. Here's the difference between him talking to men and women. Men take the punch to the face and try to do better. Women say there's a better way to punch. Go somewhere. First of all, yo, I'm glad you thought you went off, right? I'm really glad you thought you went off. Okay. I'm like, I don't know why so many of you Kevin Samuels minions uh are like worshiping this guy. This is legitimately a random man that decided to come on the internet and start telling black women about themselves. At first, he was telling y'all men about yourselves, which is actually his rightful place because he's a man himself. Y'all did not want to hear it. Y'all did not want to hear it. Like the study I just said, obviously, y'all don't like to do any work to be better and to stay better. Y'all only want to think about doing some kind of work when it involves black women doing it. Okay, that's the only time that y'all really care. All right. And then you have this guy that went viral and had so much to say about black women. And then you really think that that's bringing the black community together. No, the hell it's not. You got to bring someone down to bring them together. How does that make sense? And then you're going to say, I even mentioned that he spoke to men's issues, but later said, I didn't say that black men can do no wrong. I said that his content talking to women only makes it seem as if black men could do no wrong, that black men were above reproach because every single woman that called in, it's like she was just always the issue. He would extrapolate one little thing from whatever it is she would say and then find a way to make her the problem. And then he's going to say men take the punch to the face and try to do better. Women say there's a better way to punch. Where? When has that happened? Because when it came to him and his content, he was talking about women all of the time when he got popular. We really need to have a conversation about defeminization. It's a real thing that's going on, particularly with black women, where we now are expected to take punches, man up, and be the ones to accept these harsh truths. And harshness is more of a easier thing for black people in particular to get used to because a lot of black people were raised in struggle. There's a lot of abuse in the black community. So it's easier for a lot of black people to accept verbal abuse than to accept the same exact messages, but given and delivered through love and kindness. All right. So when I see men that think like this, y'all just prove all the stats correct. Y'all don't want to be the ones to man up. You want to bring your own woman to that level of manning up. You are so quick to say that you don't like feminism, that you acknowledge men and women are different, for black women need to know their place, but then when the going gets tough, you want us to step up to the bat with you. We're never going to be able to do that. That's never going to happen because, like you all love to say yourselves, women and men aren't the same. It's not going to work. The messages that we receive don't need to be the same type of message that y'all receive and in the same way. Okay, there's a reason the barbershop talk and the locker room talk, there's a reason why that stayed in the barbershop and in the locker room. Now y'all don't have nothing else to do but to bring all that foolishness to the online world for the whole entire world to see. Which is why white media outlets are out here reporting about y'all, calling y'all crazy and controversial, got the FBI out here investigating y'all, and y'all really think that these same messages that are being investigated by our federal government are going to help the black community come together? Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense to me. And this is why I was saying earlier with the callers that there's always been a community of marginalized men throughout centuries. Throughout centuries. And y'all are slowly making y'all the new group of marginalized men. If you have, oh well, shoot, you probably have already at this point, but you're making it worse. You're making it worse. The more you demand that your woman man up, that the more that you demand that they stop being, that us as women stop being so soft and just swallow the truth like a man. That's what men do. Y'all are supposed to be able to handle that quote unquote harshness a lot more. Really, real masculine men don't consider it harsh. They consider it how men talk. It's only black men that I'm seeing are considering it harsh because y'all are a little bit too effeminate. Make that make sense. How y'all gonna say a message is gonna bring the black community together, but it's also in being investigated by the FBI? A whole report came out that I read on my channel where the Secret Service recommended that every major city create behavioral centers for men who are socially disturbed, who are basically incels, in the event that they start committing crimes. This is like really happening. And this is what I'm saying. This entire space is not helping men improve at all. You're not helping men improve by getting women in line. None of that. No, you're not improving. This is entertainment for y'all. And the fact of the matter is, I'm really sorry this has to be said. And it's really not my opinion. This is also backed up by data. Considering the fact that Black men are the least married group of men in the nation, it is also a fact that majority of women everywhere are not trying to change, hustle, and bustle to get with a Black man and walk with him down the aisle. I'm sorry. This is just the truth. I'm not talking about Black women right now. I'm talking about Black men. That's y'all's reality. And in the event y'all do have a woman by your side, still the least likely to propose to her. All right? And I'm tired of every single time we bring up an issue with these men, the only thing they all have to say all the time, but where's your ring? Where's your husband? The least desired, these OK Cupid studies and all this other BS. What the hell? You know what I'm saying? That's all they can talk about is like how Black women are the least married and least desirable. But what they can never say is that we're the least educated. What they can never say is that we're the least employed. What they can never say is that we're the most arrested. What they can never say is that we are, the most on welfare, because we're not actually. They can never say things like that literally matter in society, that literally matter in terms of keeping society going. A Black woman having her ring on her finger, if she has one or not, is not costing the economy billions of dollars. You have Black men out here costing the economy billions of dollars, sometimes single or not. Because they're the most arrested, all because they are the most on government assistance, because they are the most likely to drop out of college. Black women aren't costing the economy $50 billion, so no, we are not the most problematic here. I promote marriage actually. I genuinely do, but marriage is not, that is something in 2022 that is now more so of a choice. What would you guys rather be a part of? Which group? Let me ask you this. Would you guys rather be a part of a group of people that's the most arrested, or a group of people that's just the least married, but at the end of the day, you're not causing trouble to nobody? Which group would y'all rather be a part of? I would rather be a part of the group of the least married, but at least I'm not arrested. But at least I'm not on government assistance. At least I got my degree and I can make a living. At least I'm actually contributing to society as a whole. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, their rebuttals and the issues they bring up with Black women aren't issues that are so detrimental to everyone else. You know what I'm saying? These are just issues that would be subjectively detrimental to one Black woman if she wants. Some Black women don't care to be, actually majority of Black women don't really care to have a relationship, according to lots of surveys done by Black women. They don't. They're fine actually living their life. They're fine with their passion projects, with their family and their friends, traveling and stuff like that. They don't dream of having a ring. They don't dream of having a ring to a group of men that make less than $900 a week and are the most arrested and are the least likely to finish college and are committing a lot of the crimes currently in the US. They're not very excited to get married to a man who is a part of the same group of men that commit a lot of homicides, that are majority of the men to commit homicides in the community, majority of the time, that are majority of the time involved in the most gang violence. Like, so when y'all leave these comments about Kevin Samuels and all the things he's doing for the black community, he did not, I'm sorry, y'all, he didn't do anything for the black community, okay? He sat in his studio, accepted calls from black women who clearly needed therapy. Because why, as a woman, would you call somebody that you do not know, who does not know you from a hole in the wall, and ask them for guidance over your life? Why would you do that? What is a person like that going to offer to you? And then a person who wasn't even living the lifestyle that they're supposedly trying to be a representative for, the high value man. Like, look, in the BWE spaces, none of these black women are saying that black women are perfect. I'm pretty sure that all of the black women that are involved in trying to heal and better themselves are very much so aware that we as a group of women have things we need to work on. That's not a secret over here. All right? Over here, we know as black women that we have a lot of work to do, but guess what? We're excited and determined to get it done. According to stats, black women tend to get it done a lot more than our own men in areas that actually matter to society. This is just the truth. You're saying Dar says KS blew up because of black men. Yeah, he did. When he was talking about men, y'all were not listening. Y'all only started listening when he started basically defeminizing black women by telling them off, telling them to man up and accept these truths. And then y'all want to keep his legacy of defeminization alive by leaving these comments and trying to create your own podcast carrying on his talking points. All right. Dar also says marriage is great, but the stats for all marriages is not. Many marriages fail. This is a fact. I promote marriage, but let's not be naive here. Many marriages do fail. You know what I'm saying? And it's a woman that's leaving. So what does that tell you? The funny thing is they also say in this space that it's the women who are problematic are the ones leaving. They never want to consider that maybe it's the men who are problematic since they're the ones getting left. So Guanizo said the Fed starting at the top by taking out the rappers first. Some just got caught up. They are hoping the minions fall in line. Yeah, I have been seeing all that stuff about these rappers getting caught up. I saw something else that now they're starting the investigation to just see, like it's like a branch, like Young Thug and I guess Gunna at the top, and then they're gonna branch off to any other people that are involved or ever were involved. You know. Chaplain says barbershop talk is crazy. Barbershop talk is crazy. That's why it should stay there. You know what I'm saying? Barbershop talk was not meant to go viral on the internet. It wasn't meant to go viral on the internet. That's why all these white media outlets are saying what uh, those talking points that Kevin Stan was talking about is controversial, misogynistic, hyper masculinity, out of touch with reality. I mean, and these are big um, outlets. Even the New York Post, the New York freaking Post, y'all, said that he was controversial. Did you guys also know? Let me look it up. Did you guys also know that his channel is shadow banned? Yeah, his channel is shadow banned, y'all. Basically, what that means is, I mean, I'm sure you guys have an idea of what shadow ban means, but it's like when you search his name on YouTube, it's not the first thing that pops up anymore. It's like all the way at the bottom. His actual channel. That's what shadow banned is. It's just when your stuff is not very easy to find, and your stuff just doesn't pop up. Now that could also be because he's gone, so obviously his channel ain't active. Once you lose, the way analytics works, when you're not very active on your stuff, you're not in the algorithm as much anymore. So that's a fact too. But a lot of people are calling his stuff controversial. So I think that also ties into it as well. Now that he's passed, y'all come out like freaking roaches. Everyone has been saying their piece on the things that they say. And a lot of these men are saying he spoke for black men, he painted a new image for black masculinity. If it was so positive, like I said, people would not call him controversial. All these major media outlets, people would not or I mean, like, the federal government wouldn't have him under investigation. That wouldn't be happening if he was truly like bringing everyone together and was a good image for black masculinity. If black masculinity has to involve bringing women down and putting women in their place, it's not good. Masculinity is not about bringing people down. It's about building and protecting and giving. The complete opposite of bringing anything down. It's really about building up and all this other stuff. So no, I don't even know why. No. So that's the last thing I'm going to say on this. I'm not talking about him anymore. I'm over it. I'm over it. It's over. All right? That's the only way they know how to gain power, by attempting to steal black women power. Yeah. Yeah, and that's sad. That's not something to be proud of. You shouldn't be proud that you have to put black women in their place in order for you as a man to excel. You shouldn't be proud of that. I think there's a lot that black women can reflect on from this, however. And particularly black women, I think this man's rise revealed a lot, probably saved a lot of black women from getting mixed up with certain men who are just, deep down have these horrible feelings that they've had towards black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of black women can now see these messages, these comments, and can have their lives saved by knowing the deal, knowing the truth. And it's hurtful, a lot of these things that these guys say. It's hurtful, but it's how they feel. That this is what they're saying is what they think, their truth, and what they want and how they feel about things. And they're letting the world know. And now women really of any color can move accordingly. Okay, that's the beauty of it being 2022. That's the beauty of freedom of speech, is that you can say what you want, but you cannot force people to accept what you're saying. You cannot force people to follow your demands at all. Women have every right to hear what you're saying and listen to you and then leave you alone. And leave you to whatever it is you're saying you want, leave you to it. And if Black women, time after time, again, are saying that they're over it, they're over it. I mean, there's Black women every single day who are starting to move on from this, who are starting to move on from Black men as a collective. Okay, I see them all the time. I see they comment on my videos. I'm so glad I found this movement. Still, guys, still today. I'm so glad I found this movement. I'm just so over it and all this stuff. I'm over the Black community. I want to start living for myself. They're on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's young Black girls, young Black women, really Black women of all ages. So, these men, say what you want, have your truths, have your wants, but you can't make anyone listen to you. Just can't. Can't make anyone change. They're either going to choose everyone else but you, or they'll stay within their own peace and be on their own, because peace is priceless. I don't know many women who's willing to give up their peace to deal with these types of demands just because you say they should. And I saw something else that he said on a video, on just all those videos where um you know they're showing all of his talking points now and like these montages, and he was saying that if women are so happy and single, why are every 1 in 4 of them on some kind of psychological medication? Excuse me, basically implying that single women are going to be happier, or would be happier, if they had like an average man. And then imagine an average Black man at that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it like that, but come on now. You know what I'm saying? We know the stats. The average white man is completely different than the average Black man. The average Asian man is completely different than the average Black man. You know what I'm saying? And and it's almost like he implied that if these women had a man, they wouldn't be on pills. That couldn't be. Child, please. Please. I'm a Christian woman, right? And that's not even biblical to have a man be the root of your happiness. God, your spirit, whatever you guys believe in, is supposed to be the root of your happiness. You being able to, meditate and reflect, journal, whatever that me time looks like, when you're able to just elevate from yourself, that is supposed to be how you gain your happiness. You don't gain it from no man. That's not how it goes. I mean, he really sat up there and said if these women had a man, they wouldn't be on pills. Because I guess, women I'm sorry, men are perfect and can just bring happiness into everyone's life, particularly Black men, right? Particularly Black men, when we know the stats of them being the most arrested, violent, but yet they're supposed to bring so much peace and get women off these pills that make them go crazy, or to keep them from going crazy. Like, that's not, no. No. Dara says most women need to take time for themselves before being with a man. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're not taking time for yourself, what is he like? How can he even, be with you? Like, who even are you? Like, no man wants to just have a woman that doesn't have a sense of self, that loves herself. That's what's attractive to healthy men. Men who are abusive and insecure, they want weak, vulnerable women. And they get mad when you aren't that. They shame you for having passions. They shame you for wanting to create a life for yourself outside of them. They shame you for all of those things. when they're insecure and when they're unhappy and when they've never felt any sense of power within themselves as a man. They take it out on other women. As Aries says, my question is, how do black men expect black women to be happy with them when they cause so much stress for the country and other countries they live in? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Right? Because in that video I watched of the montage of all of Kevin Samuel's most profound talking points, and he said that 1 in 4 women are on uh, Zoloft or whatever those depression medications are. But if they had a man, supposedly, I guess they'd be happier. When everyone knows you shouldn't be getting your happiness from a man, you should be getting happiness from, whatever spiritual, my personal opinion, like whatever spiritual beliefs you have, your hobbies, skills, whatever. It shouldn't be another man. That shouldn't be what makes you happy, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I know they say men, when they have these talking points, but they don't. I don't see other men backing them up as much. I see only black men saying this and then believing that they're speaking for other groups of men, but I don't see other groups of men coming to the forefront with the same type of force, agreeing with them with the same energy that's that black men are putting out. I don't see it being reciprocated by other groups of men. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that. So no. Like, can you believe that? Imagine if I got on here and I said, knowing that men take themselves out the most, and I got on here and said, well, they wouldn't take themselves out the most if they had a good wife or whatever, if they treated women better. When there's a multitude of reasons, these men that take themselves out, that have money and that have good careers, there's so many other reasons that can lead to their unhappiness. They can't have it all rooted in a woman. And it's usually you know what I'm saying, like, it's usually men that have everything going on and they're still depressed and unhappy. In that video with Fresh and Fit and those Australian people, before they cut them out the show, right? That was hilarious. Before they cut them out the show, the white guy was talking about Dan Brazilian. And if you guys don't know who Dan Brazilian is, I talked about it and I showed him. But Dan Brazilian, sorry, I got a text message. Dan Brazilian is a white guy who, he's kind of very popular online for having like a bunch of girls, just that whole wild life. You know what I'm saying? Always half naked girls around him. He's always in the gym, pumping iron, private jets, just a wild lifestyle. But even he said that he gets miserable in that lifestyle because he craves to have a relationship. And he's rich and he has all this money, but he still gets like upset and he still gets depressed. Now he claims it's because he wants a relationship. He wants an emotional connection. But, you know, I don't know. Some of these men like that, I think some of these men think, that there's still something missing, because even if you have a relationship with a woman, there's still something that's missing. I've met men that they have a good woman, but they're still sad. They're still upset. Basically, what I'm saying is they're not putting the root of their happiness in a woman. So women aren't doing the same thing either. G says you can have a crowd and still be lonely. Exactly. Exactly. So when I heard Kevin Samuel say that these single women, 1 in 4 of them are still on cuckoo pills, I wonder why. It's just like, well, it ain't because of a man. A man cannot get no woman off of those pills, off of Zoloft and all that other stuff. I think Zoloft is the most popular one, right? I don't know. Right? But it's like these men are the least married group of men in the nation. And they're having so many conversations about what they want in a woman and what they want in a wife, elevating other groups of women over black women, but yet still not proposing to them either. Because let's be real, those women aren't seeking out black men as their number one. Even when those women date out, like when Asian women date out, their number one is typically white guys, right? When Latinas date out, their number one is white men. Also, I think white men are kind of the number one for. Even when black women date out, majority of the time they end up with a white guy. You know, women are making it known that when they date out, they have a preference. But also, white men are the majority group of men as well in the country. Aqua says women are depressed because they have to live in fear and anxiety 24/7, living with these hostile and non predictable predators. Exactly. 100%. That's the real reason why so many women are single and depressed. It ain't got nothing to do with them not having a man. So, when this shaming stuff happens in these spaces, it's just these men's way of trying to like get uh get women to need them. If you're a man that's very much so valuable, if you're a catch, you don't need to say these things to women to get them to take you seriously. Okay, a catch tends to get caught. Good men don't stay single for long. I was in what I was listening to earlier. Um, a woman made a very good point. She was saying like if you're meeting a guy, I know this isn't for all guys, but if you're meeting a guy and he is, say he does meet those standards of being high value and all this other stuff, great career, makes really good money, he's actively dating and he's still single after like a long time. She suggested to the ladies that may be a little bit of a red flag. You want to explore that because truly good men that are a catch, they don't stay single for long, and they're actively dating. They tend to find somebody fast. They tend to find somebody. They don't tend to like complain, oh, I can't find no good woman. Oh, that's not how it works with truly good men that got it going on for real. Jay Daniel says, why do black women keep sleeping with predators? I don't understand how you can feel this way about black men, but you keep spreading your legs for black men. So I don't know if you're new, but over here, majority of the women aren't sleeping with black men. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm not. That's for sure. I'm not. And another thing that, you got to stop conflating. One group of black women is not the same as the other group. There are a group of black women who actually are making better choices, not sleeping with low-level men, and the black women that are sleeping with low-level men tend to not be in these kinds of conversations. They just don't. So, black women over here know the deal, they know the truth, and they're sticking to it. Aqua says, where is the black coach on YouTube that is telling other black men to stop joining gangs and to stop selling drugs, stop selling and using drugs? That's what I'm saying. Where are those men at? Where are those YouTube people at? Because why is it they only get popular when they're talking about black women all day? How are you going to have a space that's supposed to be about black men improving themselves when you only talk about black women? Or not only when you at least talk about them, but you invite them to call into your broadcast only to talk to them about how these women can improve. How is that helping black men improve? It's not helping y'all to improve. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. especially asking a man. It was obvious these women have very low self esteem. Look, okay, wise and smart women know you don't go to a man that you don't know and ask him for guidance on how to live your life as a Black woman. Are you kidding me? Could never. I've never even thought of doing something like that. Before I even came on YouTube, before I even knew these spaces existed, I would never ask. um, I'm sorry. I would never ask an older Black male who's divorced twice that don't know from a hole in the wall how I should live my life moving forward. I would never. What is he going to tell me? He doesn't know me, right? He doesn't know where I've come from. He doesn't know what my goals are. He doesn't know my type. He doesn't know anything. All he can tell me is a bunch of stats. And then stats that I don't even meet. Like, I'm not a single mom. Okay? I've never been married. All right? Like, you can't tell me things based off of stats. I'm not even in them. So I can't. I only ask, I really just ask women for advice. I do. If I ask any man for advice, it's regarding a situation that may involve another man, but I'm never going to ask a man advice regarding situations that have to do with me and me only as a woman. No, I'm asking another woman for that kind of advice. And then the type of man I'd even ask regarding maybe like a situation with a guy that I'm dealing with or something would be a man that knows me, a man that has some kind of like investment, I guess, in me. I'd say that is giving me advice that's with with consideration of me as a human being in mind. Like, I'm not gonna ask a random dude that doesn't know me, could care less about me, like won't ever see me again or won't ever hear from me again. I'm not asking a guy like that. Right? Like, for me, I have my dad in my life. I have uncles, I have cousins, male cousins, and stuff like that. I'm not asking strange men for advice on my life. I don't care how popular they get online. Okay. And it just goes to show how many Black women really don't take themselves seriously to call into a show for no other reason than the guy is just popular online. And that's why you believe he's has the range to tell you something about your life. That's all it takes. Just a popular dude. Like, you got to take yourself more seriously than that as a woman. You got to be more thoughtful. You got to be more thoughtful. Tara says, a man that cares for you in some way and is on your side. Yeah, absolutely. He has to care about you in some kind of way. And that comes with time. That comes with time, with friendships, with family. Usually it's safe if it's a male family member that's known you literally since like birth. But if it's like a random dude you'll never see again, first time talking to him, you never see again, no. Jay Daniel says, smart women ask men for our advice because we are the consumers of you. No, actually, they don't. Those women aren't very smart. They're not. They're not smart asking you for advice and they don't know you. They're not smart asking you for advice and they know that you are not the same as every single guy. Every man has his own like desires in a woman. There's some men that love women with blonde hair. There's some men that love women with brown hair. There's some men who love it natural and they love their woman, done up to the gods. Not every man is the same. So no, a smart woman isn't going to just ask a random guy for advice. Aqua says everything isn't about having sex. See how they have a one track mind. Yeah, that's it too. Don't even start the y'all don't even want to bring up the things he would say about women who, when it comes to women dating and how they got to sleep with the guy right away, like god forbid, all because they had a baby or because they're of a certain age, right? Like god forbid that you as a woman decide to have some value within yourself regardless of your age, regardless if you're a mom or not. That's too bad. If you want to if you want a man to take you seriously, you got to give it up. Right? That's insane. That is crazy. That is crazy to be told because I had a child, I now have to be easy and spread my legs to every single guy that I'm trying to date in order for him to take me seriously. Let me tell you one thing, a guy who's actually open to who's open to connecting emotionally, he's not going to rush you into the bedroom. He's not. He's going to take his time. I date in a rotation. So I have a man, but we're kind of, but I started dating someone else and he's European and we've already had 3 dates and he's so sweet. He's so kind. He owns his own business and he is definitely just so patient with how he treats me. He doesn't really like he touches me very gently and it's very sweet. Like he just makes sure that he's not pressuring me into anything. You know what I'm saying? And my experience with men who are have a more fearful, avoidant type of attachment style, they want to rush you into sex, rush you to go home, rush you to cook for them, and have them, rush to use you and see what you got and put you through the ringer. Before I even came on these spaces and like really got into that level up mindset, it was kind of like years ago. I had an ex and he basically wanted me to try out to be his quote unquote wife, cooking and cleaning and doing the laundry and all this stuff. And at that time, I was just like, why do you want me to do all these things? Like, when are we going to actually bond? Right? Like, how am I supposed to bond with you if I'm in the kitchen cooking all the time, if I'm cleaning up something all the time? How are we going to get to know each other if I'm doing all of these things? Right? That's what I was saying, like in my head. But I didn't say all of that to him. I was thinking that in my head. What I really said to him was like, why do I need to? I just asked why do I need to do these things. And then he's like, well, how else am I going to see your wifey material? If you don't cook, if you don't clean, and you don't do, how am I going to know? Child, ugh, a mess. You're going to know by getting to know me. And you can't do that if I'm up in the kitchen and you're sitting on the couch. And we've only known each other for like a few months of dating. A lot of these men don't know how to find a wife. So they're, attaching themselves to people like Kevin Samuels and his message, but this man couldn't keep his woman either. Twice. He didn't even leave this world married. He didn't even leave this world married himself, but then was this person who just had, the 911 on how to keep a black man. Why do we need all these blogs and crap on how to keep a black man? Are y'all that hard to be with? That's a problem. I don't see blogs on how to keep a white man. I don't see blogs on how to keep an Asian man. You know why? Because they're not necessary. They're easy to be with. It doesn't need to be taught. How about that? How about that? All right. When we have things, those books, guys, that used to come out like years ago about And it would tell you what to do, tell you a topic, just any topic. The topics were infinite. There were so many of these books. They probably still make them for all I know, but it was whatever for dummies, computers for dummies, cell phones for dummies, how to use an iPhone for dummies, like those books, right? Like topics that those books released on were topics that people were saying that they had a hard time understanding. Okay? There wasn't a book on how to breathe for dummies. There wasn't a book on how to brush your teeth for dummies. You know what I'm saying? But there's just so many blogs and so many platforms on how to keep a black man. At this point, they need to do a how to keep a black man for dummies. Since it's just so doggone hard. Since these men just have so many demands, it seems like they can just never be satisfied. And this is why divestment came into play. Because black women were tired of trying, black women were tired of hoping and waiting and wishing. And they just decided, let's just live for ourselves and what makes us happy and go towards what's positive and what makes sense. Yes, Guyanese Doll, the Dummy series, exactly. But these books were created regarding topics that were hard for people to understand. That's when people create stuff like that, regarding things that are hard to understand, where you need more context, when you need things to be explained, when people need guidance on how to navigate them. And it just says a lot when there's all of these books, blogs, YouTubers trying to tell people how to be with a black man. And they exist, and there's a market for it because it's not easy. If it was easy, there would be no market on how to instruct you how to do it. Okay, I'm waiting for the Asian and white Kevin Samuels. Okay, that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting for an Asian guy to tell um, women how to make an Asian man happy. That's what I'm waiting for. All right. Dancing Hip Hop says KS was a total fraud. Black men were so stupid to follow him, and the black woman who called had low self esteem, which was so sad to me. Yeah, he did. I think I showed you guys in the last little stream I did. It was only like 30 minutes because I had to go, but there was a video he did a long time ago before he even went viral saying that if he stopped talking to black men and he just started bashing black women, he'd make it big. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely had these men fooled. He told these men what they really wanted to hear, which was vitriol and malice for black women. And that's why he went popular. You have a lot of black women that are used to harsh words and verbal abuse. So you have a lot of black women that tuned into that as well because they're not used to being loved. They don't know what love feels like and sounds like. And then on top of that, a lot of them didn't have fathers, or they had fathers that were also really abusive. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I'm tired of conversations on how to be with a black man. It's annoying. It's annoying. They're the most arrested group of men in the nation. Okay? They are. Google it. Look it up. I'm tired of conversations on how to be with them. Why? Why do we need a conversation on how to be with a black man? If it doesn't come easy, then why should it be done? I even posted on my community tab a meme, right? That said that love should come easy because it should. This ideology that love is supposed to be something you have to break your back to make it work is false. It's false. No, you shouldn't have to break your back. Your person should be just that. You're a person. It should actually be easy. It should be easy. It shouldn't be hard. That's the thing I said. It says fall in love with someone who doesn't make you think love is hard. It's not supposed to be hard. That's what compatibility means. When you find something and it works and it's simple and doesn't stress you out, you tend to stick with stuff like that. You tend to stick with stuff that isn't stressful, especially as a woman. There's a lot of men that don't really understand female nature. Instead, they want to like just make their demands and expect you to meet it, but they're making their demands without the understanding of how women work. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the truth. I don't get with men. It's not. If I meet a guy, it's not going to last long if he's being difficult as hell, making all these stupid demands, so particular about all these little things that don't matter. Like, it doesn't work. Aqua says, you broke men just want free labor from women while you get to cheat and be horrific partners. Yeah, you know what? And that's another thing I posted on my community tab of that young woman who posted all those tweets. It was really about how she married an older man. But nonetheless, I think her story is relatable to so many other women who married these men who are just emotionally not all the way there. Um, which is a sign that he's not all the way there is if he's way too focused on how you cook and clean. He's using those things as the main, like, the bread and butter for how you'll be a good wife, when it's really about your character as a woman. Being a wife is a mentality and a mindset, it's not a set of chores. Agaro says majority of women of all races cook and clean because little girls are raised and conditioned to do so. Easy bake ovens, play kitchens. Yeah, I definitely had an easy bake oven, y'all. I love to cook and I love to bake. I don't do it because I'm trying to impress a man. I do it because it's fun to me. The next thing on my baking list is to make blueberry muffins from scratch because I love blueberry muffins. But you know what I mean? Like, I do it for myself. It's not a it's not a big deal to know how to cook and clean and all that and be organized. That should not be factors of what makes you a wife. So much more than that. And these men don't really know how to find wives because they weren't raised by one. So they swear it's like the movies and what they hear and what they see. They really lack a lot of experience being emotionally intimate with a woman. Intimacy that's shown outside of the bedroom. And this is what I'm saying from men who leave these comments and have these really weird and insane expectations of women. I could just tell you've never really had a real relationship with one. You're just very damaged, or you only attract certain women that aren't trying to be with you. They're trying to use you as a lick. So, shoot. But this is the last time I'm going to talk about him in as far as like his passing and things like that. Unfortunately, his talking points will live on and be carried on by other people. Um, but his platform is over. No more black women going up and being black women that clearly need help being tempted to ask a stranger for advice when they need to be in therapy, when they need to like journal about it and go for a walk or create a network of women that are where they want to be and ask those women to mentor them. The last thing you need to do is call on a man from the internet. If you do that, just know you're about to become the next laughing stock. Okay? These men want to laugh. They want to be entertained. They don't care to really help you because they don't know you. And it's just, it's just the truth. Stop asking men you do not know for advice. They are not going to tell you good advice. If you want to talk, I don't really talk to men I don't know. That's just me personally. I just don't care if you're not working, if we're not on the job, or I don't know. I have no desire. Like, what is that going to do for me? Male worshiping women are quick to talk to all types of guys for advice and want to know their thoughts and how they think and their feelings. Like, girl, find something to do. How about that? Stop giving these men so much attention, and they make it clear that they have so many issues with you, but yet you give them so much of your attention. Why? And I know a lot of people want to say that here in the BW space, it's talked about a lot here, black women talking about black men and all these things. There's a difference though. We don't talk about black men here because we want to get with them. We're trying to figure out how to be with them. We talk about them here to share our experiences, majority of the time, pretty much all the time, to tell women, like, open up your options, particularly black women, and live your life that way. You know what I'm saying? Live your life being open. These thirsty girls will talk about black men like they want to be with them, they care so much what they think, and all these other things. And it's just like they're posting horrible things about you online, though. I was just talking to my girlfriend yesterday, and she broke up with her man who's black, and she's dating again. She's online dating, and she's only swiping right on non-black men. She's only swiping right on non-black men, and she's so over black men right now. Like, she's not trying to be with them, she's not trying to date them. And she also watches things in the manosphere, and it's because of the comments that she sees black men leave. She's just like, I don't know who these men could possibly look like and where they could be at, so I just don't want to deal with none of them. Literally, she told me this yesterday. For real. She literally told me this yesterday, y'all. And she said that she's, been dating online, only dating non-black men, and she really feels in her spirit that she's going to meet her Mr. Right. And she was in a relationship before with a white guy. And then she wanted, black love, but it didn't work out. and and then the Manosphere and Kevin Samuels popped up, just turned her away and turned her off even more. After reading all these comments and seeing all these videos of all these things black men have to say about black women, she was just over it. A lot of black men on here don't understand that there are still some black women that actually want to date y'all, but they're running into this barbershop talk that y'all want to make viral, and it's turning them away. It's turning them away. Like, we already have the black women that are just like, I'm not for it regardless. But then you have some black women who kind of date both. They date out, they date black men, but y'all are turning those black women away too by your own doings. Aqua says, notice how really rich men who marry hire maids, cooks, nannies, landscapers, etc., and their wives don't have to slave as hard. Yeah, it's true. Real masculine men, they enjoy your presence. They understand the female nature, and the female nature is stressed the more she has to do, and it knocks her off of her being. And when a man truly loves you, he will try to make your life easier. It just is what it is. He's not going to try to look all out for himself and make sure you don't leave and put all these things in the way to keep you working. That's a selfish man. Love and relationships are risky, y'all, okay? No one, you can't guarantee a win. These men can say, I want to put my wife to work to make sure she don't leave, and she can put down her tools and still leave. Like, what you gonna do? Strap her down to the door? She can still go. It doesn't take anything. She'll just accept the L. She'll accept that she wasted what she wasted, but at least she'll be pursuing peace moving forward. It's a part of life. Men need respect, women need love. If you have a bunch of men who don't know how to love women, they want you to man up, accept harsh truths and all this stuff, and then turn around and demand respect. Don't expect these men to be very successful. Don't expect these men to be the most sought after. They're not. And it's just the truth. Melanie says KS has no credentials. That's the sad part. He has no credentials. He just has the gift to gab. He just knows how to run his mouth. That's really it. It's unfortunate. I'm believing that it's not only if you have a platform that degrades black women, you'll make it big, but it's also if you have a platform that just tells um, black men that they're kings and they don't have to do anything and all this other stuff. That's what makes it that too. If you have a platform where you just make black men feel like men, I think that that will go viral. You know what I'm saying? And I know that there's platforms that make black women feel good and they tend to go viral and all that stuff. Um, but amongst black women who actually win, they know they have to put in the work. Like, what's his name? Derek Jackson, all that stuff. I was never really. I heard his like way before, and I way before like all this Kevin Samuels stuff, because he's been around for a while too, and I'd listened to a few videos, but after a while I was just like, something don't sound right. Like it just kind of sounds a little too like the woman is perfect. Like, and no, you know what I'm saying? It's just not it. Dara says respect versus love. That's a conversation on its own. It is. It is. Women need love. We need to feel cherished. And I've said this before, love is an action word. It's not just like love is an action. Like you don't just can't just talk your way into loving someone. You have to actually do things. You have to prove it. You know. But yeah, I've been on for almost 2.5 hours, guys. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to leave off with that. I'm tired of talking about Kevin Samuels and his transition and how people think he helped the black community. Personally, I don't think he did anything but offer entertainment to the black community. And he also just revealed how many broken black people there are. That's really all I see. I don't think women need to man up and take the truth. That's defeminization. Women are women. We receive messages differently than men do. And that's just what it is. And if you have a group of men that refuses to understand female nature, you have a man that's going to their group of men is going to be single, and they are the most single group of men. They just don't get it. So I had another comment on here actually. So this comment said he had nearly 1.5 million subscribers. The woman who said that black men didn't want to hear about their flaws seems like she is being revelatory. Nobody wants to hear about their flaws. And he was trying to say that black men had heard about their flaws ad nausea. If the ideas he had were off base, he probably would have fizzled out. So, yes, it's actually a problem that black men are constantly being told what's wrong with them time and time again. Why is that? Well, maybe that's because there's no real results. Maybe they keep getting told their flaws. Really, those aren't flaws, but they're choices that they're making. And they keep getting told about their own choices time and time again and how much of a problem it is because it's not being fixed. Maybe if they improved, the criticism would stop. Have you ever thought about that? And it's no one's fault that black women such as Oprah and all these other trailblazing black women created their platforms to speak and shared their experiences that just so happened to involve black men. Why didn't black men get up and start their own platforms to share theirs before Kevin Samuels, like way back in the day? You know what I'm saying? During Oprah and Waiting to Exhale and Color Purple Time. You know what I mean? Like, stop saying they're flaws. It's not, black women aren't talking about black men's flaws. They're talking about the choices that they make that are detrimental to themselves, black women, and children. That's not a flaw. Those are choices. Then he says if the ideas he had were off base, he probably would have fizzled out. Well, he almost fizzled out if he would have kept talking to black men. So he had to switch it up, bash black women, and then he went popular. Like, you say that as if he was talking about black women from the beginning. No, he technically was fizzled out because he was trying to help black men. Black men didn't want the help, and black men didn't want the help, so he switched his intentions to bashing black women, and then he went popular. Okay, that's what it is. Like, we have to ask ourselves these questions. Why are black men talked about all the time and then negatively, and then there's books and blogs on how to be with a black man and all this? Why do they even exist, and why don't they exist for other groups of men? You know what I'm saying? People didn't just decide to wake up and start trash talking black men. People wake up and share their experiences that unfortunately are negative and just so happen to involve black men. And I don't understand why that can't be accepted. Instead, it's always, they're coming for us as men and they hate us and all this other crap. It's never holding themselves accountable and actually listening. And then he goes on to say most shows are for the listener, not the caller. Come on, really? Really? So his show was about people watching. It was genuinely not trying to help black women who called in. Well, then you just proved my point. The show was for entertainment. All right, guys, that's all I had to say for this live. I'm going to leave it up. I think it was a pretty good live. Black men are too prideful to fix their problems. I agree. Hence why we have to keep telling them over and over because they don't want to listen and they don't want to improve. But this is also why, according to the stats, they're not making a lot of money compared to other groups of men. They make less than $900 a week compared to the average white man who makes $1,100 a week. And they're not as educated as their own women as well. And then they want to go viral shaming you for having these degrees. And that doesn't make any doggone sense. All right, guys, like this video on your way out. I'm going to leave it up. If you're catching the replay, comment down below your thoughts on this topic, whatever you heard today. I'd love to know. Turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss it when I go live. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.